It's your host, your friend, your boy, Jump Like the One and Only, here with another fantastic live stream. So the point of this live stream is for me to try and get people who want to jump into Jank Funnifyic, and may not have watched some of the previous episodes, or not all of the previous episodes up to this point, to be able to jump into the show and understand what's going on and what characters are currently up to in the series. So, one moment while I get the live chat set up for this stream, and then I'll jump right in on the jump start and how to get everyone excited. Yo, Scavenger, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Yo, Zolex, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you as well. Yo, Jared, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Jared said, boy, you said you were done at 8. Okay, so I had to work on a quiz that was like an at-home quiz for network defense, which is why I had to stop doing a series of videos. But I finished the quiz, and I decided I wanted to do a video to help get people caught up. So if you haven't been watching Jank Heroes up to this point, this is a good video for you guys to watch in order to understand the main storylines that are going on with all the current characters. So me and the live chat, I hope, can work together in order to try and summarize the main things that you should know if you want to jump in. And even if this video ends up being like an hour with us trying to explain like some of the main plot lines, that still will save you a lot of time because the series itself has 1 hour episodes in general. So if it takes you an hour to understand all the stuff that's happened through the series so far, it saves you like 14 hours of time actually watching all of those episodes. So the main plot lines I think that people really need to pay attention to if they want to jump into it. Yeah, Scavenger's like the series is over 15 hours so far. So I think these jump start videos will be really necessary in order to get new people in. And essentially every once in a while I'll do a jump start and just talk about the 3 main plot lines that I think are really important. And as long as you understand those plot lines and the characters and how they connect to those plot lines, you should be able to jump in at any point. So like I said, there's a lot of episodes. And that is really true. There are a lot of episodes to watch, so I feel like these jumpstart videos are really handy because they'll allow people to jump in when jumping in may feel a little intimidating to do. So the 3 major plot lines, I think, for the first 14 episodes so far are the following. So there is the Hero Framer storyline that's going on. There are the Andraxia jewels, or the Andrax jewels. I always get the pronunciation mixed up on that. And then we have the Speed Patrol storyline. I feel that when it comes to the 3 main character sagas going on right now, those being the Time Traveler saga, the Memer saga, and the Shadow Darkgale saga, all 3 of these characters tie into these major stories. So as long as you understand the major stories and how they've gotten from point A to now, then you'll be able to jump in just fine at episode 15 and understand what's going on. Yo, Bub, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button, by the way. Scavenger said the most funny are the Time Traveler and the Memer sagas. Some people feel like Shadow Darkgale takes the game a little too seriously, but that being said, some people may enjoy Shadow Darkgale's storylines more because he's more serious. So it's all like a matter of taste and what you're looking for out of the show. So first, let's talk about the Master Framer storyline and how that's going. So the Hero Framer storyline. So the Hero Framer storyline is based on the idea that there's someone in Springdale who is framing the superheroes that patrol Springdale and making them seem like they're villains. The way that Time Traveler ties into the Hero Framer is that Time Traveler and everyone else in Springdale, for the most part, remembers Time Traveler killing a kid, but there's no evidence that Time Traveler actually did it. Time Traveler wants to find the Hero Framer in order to help clear his name because a $1 million bounty has been put on his head, and now heroes are trying to track down Time Traveler in order to claim the bounty. So that is Time Traveler's incentive and his connection to the Hero Framer storyline. We're experiencing a little bit of lag. I'm sorry about that. Internet connection issues. School Wi-Fi might as well just be McDonald's Wi-Fi. Let's see. Time Traveler said, lol, This was information I never discovered, the existence of Master Framer. Bub said, nice. Scavenger said, did you just accidentally reveal the Framer's identity? The Framer's identity? How so? That's getting into theoretical territory there. So, let's see. Moving on to the Memer storyline. So, in the Memer storyline, and his connection to the Hero Framer. I keep calling him the Master Framer. I think that's because the Hero Framer, I think is a lame name, and that the Master Framer just sounds cooler. But I don't know. Hero Framer is what we've been using for the most part in a lot of these videos. So, the Memer has done a lot of non-heroic actions throughout his course of being a hero in Springdale. And his connection to the Hero Framer is that as he continually does these non-heroic actions, people begin to believe in the Hero Framer's existence. So, before, when it was just Time Traveler and the whole kid thing, people really believed that Time Traveler was responsible, and that Time Traveler really did kill the kid. But the crazier things that the Memer did, the more people started to believe that, hey, maybe someone is framing these heroes, and that they're not actually responsible for all these things that are happening. Maybe there's someone behind the scenes pulling the strings. So that's why, that's not why. That is how the Memer ties into the Master Framer storyline. It essentially, he's the reason why people believe the Master Framer exists. And why not everyone is constantly hunting down Time Traveler. People still definitely are hunting down Time Traveler, but the Memer's crazy antics make people believe that maybe heroes are actually being manipulated in some way by some figure that's out there. Let's see. Scavenger said, Master Framer is just easier to say in my opinion. True, it has that rhyme scheme that Hero Framer just lacks. When it comes to the tie-in between Shadow Darkgale and the Hero Framer, Shadow Darkgale was actually more or less framed to be the Hero Framer. He ended up encountering this hero named Bruiser, who believed that he was the Master Framer. So he went through a big court case where he was sued by Bruiser, and he had to prove his innocence that he wasn't the Master Framer. But he also found evidence that the Master Framer may indeed be his next-door neighbor. So that is a big tie-in between Shadow Darkgale and the whole Master Framer or Hero Framer storyline that's currently going on. Now that we've covered the Master Framer storyline and how it may tie into each of the individual characters, let's talk about the Jewels of Andrax storyline and how that ties in to the three main storylines that's going on. Zolek said, I just got a follow from Winslow. Oh, cool. I'm glad that Winslow is following you. That's nice. So, let's see. I lost my train of thought. The Jewels of Andrax. Let's start by tying it into Time Traveler, who has a very direct connection to what's going on with the Jewels of Andrax storyline, or Andraxia. I can't remember which is the right way to say it. So, Time Traveler got an axe from, let's see, Scavenger said, Andraxian Jewels. So, Time Traveler got, then Scavenger said he doesn't think that Winslow is on Amino, because Olex asked about it. So, Time Traveler got an enchanted axe from Nerd Tanker. This enchanted axe ended up becoming bound by a series of jewels during one of Time Traveler's adventures. So, when the axe got covered with all the jewels, he was unable to remove the jewels from the axe, and in order to find a way to remove the jewels from the axe, Time Traveler put the axe onto a ship. When he got the axe onto a ship, he ended up going off to another world by traveling through a wormhole accidentally, and on this rainforest world, which we later learned to be called Andraxia, or Andrax, I'm trying to remember which thing. He ends up on this planet, and there are all these animals that are a minimum intelligent of minimum intelligence of like human level, and there's a shrine at the center of the planet that has an energy signature that works with the energy signature of the jewels that are encrusted onto the axe. When he finds his way into the shrine, he meets the Shaman Lord of Andraxia, and the Shaman Lord of Andraxia reveals that the jewels are the royal jewels of Andrax, but there are more of them, and they're scattered across planet Earth. So now, Time Traveler, his friends, and the Shaman Lord of Andraxia are all trying to gather these jewels in order to recollect the royal jewels of Andrax. And that's Time Traveler's tie-in to the whole Andraxian jewel story. Real quick, I'm going to read the chat because I know I've missed a few things. So Zolex believes that Winslow is indeed now on the nickabenson Nation Amino, which is great to hear. Jared said that I need to curate the wikis so that the wikis are openly published and not just on each individual member's page. That's definitely something that I will get on at some point. Scavenger said, awesome. Winslow joined, which is great to hear. Eggman Rocks Cultures, I'll just call him Eggman, said, rock on! Thank you kindly. And Eggman said, good night, everybody. Oh, have a great night, Eggman. Thank you for tuning in. Scavenger said, I got a follow as well from the memer. So it seems that the memer, aka Winslow, is indeed on the nickabenson Nation Amino, which is great to hear. Jumping back in. Because of course the purpose of this video is to give people a jumping on point, a quick way to get refreshed with the current plot lines, so that they'll be able to just jump right into new episodes as they come out. So the next thing that we'll talk about is how the Andraxian Jewels plotline ties into the memer. So the memer wakes up to find that a dragon is burning down Springdale Apartments. In order to try and stop this dragon attack, the memer ends up taking control of the dragon's mind. And by doing so, he now is working with the dragon, who originally was trying to recruit heroes in order to help him collect the Andraxian jewels across the planet. Word has gotten out that there are these interesting jewels with these incredible powers, and now creatures from another medieval world have scattered across the planet trying to find all of these jewels. The dragon seems to be in league with these creatures, and working alongside the memer, he's trying to collect all the Andrax jewels. The dragon wants these jewels for one particular purpose, and that purpose is to simply hoard them like he does the rest of his treasures. So that's how the memer ties into the whole Andraxian jewels, though there is a bigger tie-in to that. His current love interest is a gypsy who seems to have a body that's made out of outer space. This gypsy character is the ambassador of Earth, so when aliens come to Earth, her role is to introduce them to Earth and to try and keep up peaceful relations. She is currently on Andrax, the planet that the jewels are from, and she's stranded there. So another connection the memer has is that he's trying to save her and get her back to Earth, but he's also trying to collect all the Andraxian jewels that are scattered across the planet. So he has a few different tie-ins to the Andraxian jewels storyline that's currently going on. Next up, we have Shadow Darkgale and his connection to the Andraxian jewels plot. So the dragon that burned down Springdale's Apartments, which burned down is a strong word, he caught it on fire. Springdale Apartments is still fully constructed. It's taken some damage, of course, from the dragon's fire, but it's not destroyed by any means. So the dragon originally came to try and recruit Shadow Darkgale for some reason. We're not entirely sure why the dragon wanted to recruit him in particular, but the dragon wanted to recruit him to help him travel around the world and collect all of the jewels. Scavenger mentioned that the Springdale Apartments are currently covered in mud. That is true. In order to stop the fire, another hero in Springdale turned all the fire into mud. Let's just not name who covered in mud, considering Scavenger's saying is totally not his fault. So, Alex, are you explaining the story? So the purpose of this video, at the moment, is to give people a jumping on point if they haven't watched the first 14 episodes. This video is a little long, but even if this video ends up being an hour long to explain the current plot lines and how the characters tie in, that saves you like 14 hours of watching the entire series up to this point. So essentially, if someone wanted to watch episode 15, which currently isn't out, they could watch this video first and then jump right in episode 15 and have an understanding of where the story is so far with each of the individual characters in the story in relation to the major plot lines. So Scavenger said, yep, so this is just a giant summary. In a way, I feel like it's a little disorganized. I'm not just straight up saying blah 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 blah. So I'm kind of like trying to remember it as I go. This would be a little bit easier if I had written it out, but I decided that I'd rather just jump in, and you all who also watch it can help me out as I go. So like said, that makes sense. Cool. So let's see. Scavenger said, so more like paraphrasing. Pretty much. You're right. It is more like a paraphrase. So moving forward, we were talking about Shadow Darkgale and how his character relates to the Andraxian Jewels plotline. So Shadow Darkgale runs away from this possible new responsibility. The dragon is like, you could help me and we could collect all these jewels and they're very powerful, but he says, nah, I don't want to do that. He runs away from the apartments and he goes to the school where he's encountered many of the medieval aliens that have traveled to the planet in search of the jewels. So he ends up encountering them on the regular at Springdale University, where they're continually searching for these Andraxian jewels. To make matters worse, he is currently indebted to the Speed Patrol, and the Speed Patrol want to collect all the Andraxian jewels on Earth because they're afraid that if the jewels fall into the wrong hands, their powers could be used for evil. So you have Shadow Darkgale being a member of the Speed Patrol, almost being forced to do what he doesn't want to do, and that's be involved in the Andraxian Jewels plot. So now we've covered how Time Traveler, the Memer, and Shadow Darkgale connect not only to the Andraxian Jewels plot, but we've also talked about how they connect to the Master Framer or Hero Framer plotline. So now we're going to talk about how these three characters connect to the Speed Patrol plotline, which is another big plotline that's going on in the show at the moment. So the Speed Patrol plotline. Let's first talk about how Time Traveler connects to the Speed Patrol. Time Traveler and the Speed Patrol haven't had a lot of direct interaction between each other. Their main connection is that Time Traveler currently wants to collect all the Andraxian jewels, and that is the same thing that the Speed Patrol wants to do. So more than likely, these two forces will come at odds with each other. But of course, that's the same when it comes to the medieval aliens, which are also on the planet trying to get the jewels. So the medieval aliens and the Andraxian jewels are also a big plotline, but I feel like they're one and the same almost. The Speed Patrol is more important mainly because they connect more to the other plot lines. So you also have the Memer and his connection to the Speed Patrol. The Memer has killed 2 members of the Speed Patrol, PSA and ER. So the Speed Patrol doesn't know who is responsible for the death of the Speedsters, who are members of their patrol, and they want to figure out who killed them. So the Memer is trying his best to not be caught by the Speed Patrol, and is even willing to kill more members of the Speed Patrol in order to cover his tracks. The Speed Patrol is also trying to collect all the Andraxian jewels because they're afraid that if the jewels fall into the wrong hands, they can be used for mischievous purposes or for evil or malevolent purposes. So essentially, the Memer is at odds with the Speed Patrol, not only because he murdered some of their members, but also because they both want the same thing for different reasons. They both want to collect all the Andraxian jewels, but the Memer wants the jewels more or less for himself, and the Speed Patrol want the jewels in order to help protect Springdale. Scavenger said the Memer is playing a murder spree. He has been on a solid murder spree, but he's been getting a little bit better about not solving all of his problems by simply killing his enemies. Moving forward from the Memer's connection, we're going to talk about Shadow Darkgale's connection to the Speed Patrol. Shadow Darkgale, in his court case against the Bruiser, when the Bruiser was accusing him of being the Hero Framer or Master Framer, Zolex, real quick, says, on Amino, do you have the things you need to make a character? So if you would like to make a character for Jank Funnifyic, um, we you can look at any Jank Funnifyic video, like any one of them, and in the description of the video is a link to our guide on how to create your own Jank Funnifyic character. So if you want to make a character, just jump in the description of another video, because this one is currently in the process of being made, so I haven't edited the description yet. Jump in the description of another Jank Funnifyic video, or if you're watching this after it's live, jump in the description of this video, and you can find a link to how you can create your own character. And of course, you can always play during these Jank Funnifyic streams by playing in the live chat, or if you're able to come in person, you can always play with us on the show directly. So yeah, no matter if you're watching at home or you're here with us, you can always play Jank Funnifyic. You just need a character written out, and we hope that you enjoy the game. Continuing on from here, though, because we're still talking about Shadow Darkgale and his connection to the Speed Patrol. So, Shadow Darkgale Shadow Darkgale was in a court case where Bruiser was suing Shadow Darkgale, accusing him of being the Master Framer or Hero Framer. In order to help represent Shadow Darkgale in the court case, he was represented by Speedy Case, who is a member of the Speed Patrol. After winning the court case, Bruiser's soul was taken to hell by the prosecution attorney, which was Hellrider, a speedster from hell. He took his soul as legal fees and took him down into the underworld. So, Shadow Darkgale, whose defense attorney was Speedy Case, made his legal fees be that he has to become a member of the Speed Patrol himself, and as a member, he is not allowed to cut off his subspace communicator. One thing that Shadow Darkgale does not want is to work with other heroes. So being forced upon having to work with a hero team and having to work with other heroes is the last thing that he wants to do. So Shadow Darkgale is trying with all of his power to try and not be a member of the Speed Patrol the best he can. Now that he is a member of the Speed Patrol, however, they're now trying to collect all the Andraxian jewels, and that has essentially pulled Shadow Darkgale in to becoming a member of the Speed Patrol and into the bigger Andraxian Jewels plotline. So, I know that this was a 22-minute video, but I hope that through this video we were able to teach you guys what's currently going on in the plotline with the Andraxian Jewels, with the Speed Patrol, and with the Hero Framer storylines, as well as how they relate to the different character sagas, being the Time Traveler saga, the Shadow Darkgale saga, and the Memer saga. So Zolex said, okay, thanks, no problem, Zolex. Scavenger said, yo everyone, don't be afraid to make a hero. It's fun and awesome. Remember to never stop punkin' and prankin'. He said he is the Batman of the Jank Heroes. Talking about how Shadow Darkgale just wants to work alone. So, does anyone have any questions about what we discussed when it comes to this jump start on how to get people into the story? Does anyone feel like I left out any important information that you feel like new viewers need to know? If you have any questions after this video is posted, just make sure to post them in the comment section below. And if anyone wants me to go over any points again that we already covered in this video, either as a separate video or before I end this video, this is the best time to speak. I'd be more than happy to cover any of the character storylines, whether or not like it got interrupted in the video at a certain point and maybe you got confused, or maybe you feel like I could explain it better, or maybe you came into the video late and you just missed it. And to refresh you on what we talked about, so that you can know what to ask about. There are three major storylines we talked about: the Andraxian Jewels, the Master Framer or Hero Framer, and the Speed Patrol, and we talked about Shadow Darkgale, the Memer, and Time Traveler. Scavenger said, I don't think so, and then he said, maybe that you shouldn't take it too seriously when people use powers in a ridiculous way. So that has been a discrepancy when it comes to the different streams. The Memer and the Time Traveler both play with like a less serious manner. They go with the flow and they have a lot of fun, and it has a lighter, more humorous tone. Where Shadow Darkgale is more serious, and he doesn't take kindly to like the more humorous, less serious things that exist within the world. But I feel like that tone difference attracts different audiences. If you want to see a more serious story, Shadow Darkgale's saga is definitely the saga to check out. Where if you want something that's more lighthearted, more humorous, checking out the Memer and the Time Traveler storylines are a great way to do so. Scavenger said, you got all the major points and main characters at this point. That's good to hear. I do feel like I could do more videos that are like the same setup as this, but like split up. I kind of want to just go over them again almost, just to make sure. I noticed that earlier when I was going over a lot of the points and a lot of the characters, that I would like stop on occasion, and if that was like a little confusing, or if that made it harder to understand, if I could just go through it straight now at this point, and cover them again, then maybe I'll remember stuff that I didn't mention before, and maybe it'll be more clear for audiences so they have like a full understanding of what's going on. Let's see, Scavenger said more jump stars would be good when you add like 3 or more people at it. Oh, most definitely. I definitely agree with that. So let me go over a few of the points a second time. I know that could be redundant. Because I'll be going over the points a second time, if you're like, oh, I don't want to hear that again, that's perfectly fine. If you would like to hear me go over it again, maybe if you think of any ideas during the course of it, you can ask questions or interject with more information. That's perfectly fine. So let's cover a few of the points again, for those of you who are still with us, or those of you who have just jumped in at this time. So the Andraxian Jewel storyline is the one that I'll cover first. I'll cover Time Traveler's connection to that storyline. So Time Traveler essentially got an axe from another character, Nerd Tanker, that was enchanted. When his axe got covered with some mysterious jewels, he put it on his ship, and when he was chased off the planet after a $1 million bounty was put on his head, he found himself on the planet of Andrax. On the planet of Andrax, he discovers a shrine that has a similar energy signature to that of the jewels that are encrusted on his axe. Inside of the shrine, he meets the Shaman Lord of Andrax, who reveals that the royal jewels of Andrax have been scattered across the earth, and that the jewels that were encrusted on the axe are indeed some of the royal jewels that have been taken from Andrax. Now, teaming up with the Shaman Lord, Time Traveler is trying to find all the royal jewels of Andrax that have been scattered across the planet. Next up, we have the Memer and his connection to the Andraxian jewels. The Memer's love interest is the Ambassador of Earth, who is currently stranded on Andrax after debate between Andrax and Earth went awry. So, the Memer wants to try and save his potential girlfriend and current love interest from being stranded on Andrax, which is a rainforest planet that's filled with these different humanoid beasts that are of minimum intelligence of that of a human. Not only does he have that connection, but he also has a dragon that is essentially his servant. This dragon has a map that tells him where all the different Andraxian jewels are located across the planet, and is trying to collect all of these jewels in order to hoard them for themselves. But after the dragon was essentially mind-controlled by the Memer now is having the dragon help him collect all the Andraxian jewels for his own purposes. So, the Memer's connection to the Andraxian jewel story plot is for him to collect all the Andraxian jewels scattered across the planet, and to save his potential love interest from being stranded on Andrax, as she is currently. Then Shadow Darkgale's connection to the Andraxian jewel storyline goes as follows. Shadow Darkgale is trying his best to not get involved with the Andraxian jewels. The dragon that is currently the Memer's pet tried to get him involved and to help him travel and collect all the jewels. But Shadow Darkgale refused and decided that he didn't want to get involved with it. But due to his obligations to the Speed Patrol, who are trying to collect all the Andraxian jewels in order to prevent them from going into the wrong hands. It seems like Shadow Darkgale is more or less forced to go along with it and try and collect all the Andraxian jewels as a part of his responsibility as a member of the Speed Patrol. Moving on from there, we have the Hero Framer storyline and how it connects to each character. So, Time Traveler has memories of killing a child, and so do other members of Springdale. Memories of Time Traveler killing a child, that is. But while everyone remembers that he killed a child, there's no evidence to support this. There is now a $1 million bounty on the Time Traveler's head, which has forced him to go off-world. Time Traveler now needs to figure out why he has these memories, and many people believe that he has these memories because there is some figure or force out there that is framing heroes. Moving forward, we have the Memer and his connection to the Hero Framer. The Memer is known for doing more villainous acts, things that normal heroes wouldn't do because it crosses the line and breaks their moral code. Because of the Memer doing these things, many people believe that a hero is responsible for the actions that the Memer is doing, which is true because the Memer is a hero, but that it's not the hero's fault. They believe that someone is pulling the hero's strings, maybe the same person that's pulling the Time Traveler's strings. So the Memer, through his actions, made people believe that there's some force or figure behind what's happening to the Time Traveler. Essentially, without the Memer existing, people would essentially just blame Time Traveler for his actions, where now some people come to Time Traveler's defense. So that's the big connection between these two and the Master Framer or the Hero Framer. Shadow Darkgale's connection to the Hero Framer is that Bruiser, a fellow hero, Scavenger said, the Memer is like Red Hood, but with comedy. So like an anti-hero Joker, but no guns. That's an interesting way to describe the Memer, and thank you, Scavenger, for adding that. So Shadow Darkgale's connection to the Hero Framer or Master Framer storyline. Shadow Darkgale was sued by Bruiser, which is another hero in Springdale, as Bruiser accused him of being the Hero Framer. Shadow Darkgale had to defend his innocence in court, and after doing so, discovers that the Master Framer may indeed be his next-door neighbor, and not only may the Master Framer or the Hero Framer might not only be his next-door neighbor, but he also might be some alternate version of him, having a very similar appearance to him, but light powers rather than dark powers. How does this all fold in? That's the current ongoing mystery when it comes to Shadow Darkgale's connection to the Master Framer or the Hero Framer storyline. Continuing forward, we've talked about the Andraxian jewels and how they connect to each of the hero storylines, as well as the Hero Framer and how he connects to all the hero storylines. Now, let's talk about the Speed Patrol and how they connect to each of the hero storylines. So, the Speed Patrol connects to Time Traveler's storyline mainly because Time Traveler is trying to help the Shaman Lord collect all the Andraxian jewels, and the Speed Patrol is trying to collect all the Andraxian jewels to keep them out of evil hands. So it seems like the Speed Patrol and the Time Traveler will soon come at odds or possibly work together, depending on how they can settle their differences on both of them wanting to collect the Andraxian jewels. Next up, we have the Memer and his connection to the Speed Patrol storyline. So, the Memer has killed ER and PSA, two members of the Speed Patrol, and he doesn't want to get caught for their murders. If anything, he is willing to kill members of the Speed Patrol in order to cover his own tracks. Not only that, but the Memer is trying to collect all the Andraxian jewels, which is the same thing that the Speed Patrol is trying to do. So, it's very unlikely for the Memer and the Speed Patrol to end up working together, and they're more likely than not going to come at odds, not only for the Memer having murdered members of their patrol, but also him having a desire to collect the jewels that they're trying to stop people from collecting. Scavenger said PSA was major in Shadow Darkgale storyline for a few episodes. The stream is currently lagging out, so I'm going to wait a little bit for the stream connection to improve. Okay, speaking of Shadow Darkgale and his connection to the Speed Patrol, let's talk about a member of the Speed Patrol now is indebted to them, and he is being forced to collect the Andraxian jewels across the planet, which is something he didn't want to do, which will end up putting him in conflict with other characters in the current expanded storyline. Also, a race of these medieval beings from another planet, including the dragon that is the pet of the memer, are now going to Springdale University. And essentially, Shadow Darkgale has seen firsthand what these medieval creatures from another planet are willing to do in order to find these Andraxian jewels, which is why they seem to have suddenly appeared in Springdale. So that is how he connects to the Speed Patrol storyline, and also how he connects to the whole medieval creatures from another world thing that's going on. So again, I'd like to say, if anyone has any additional questions or needs me to go over a particular storyline or saga again, please feel free to ask. I hope that this video was helpful for everyone, and it gives people a way to jump into the current storyline without having to watch the first 14 episodes of Jank Hero's Funnifyic. I'll try and do these jumpstart videos regularly whenever I feel like new storylines have been introduced or big moments in storylines have been passed. Scavenger said this did a great job. Thank you kindly. I hope that others in the future agree, and that they see these videos and decide that they'll jump into the story at a later point. But thank you all once again for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like this video, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring that bell to be notified whenever we do these live streams. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, logging out. Peace.